It's time now for our financial focus with our money men, business and market analyst, NewsMax contributor Seth Denson, and America's accountant and professor at Montclair State University, Dan Geltrude. Gentlemen, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Mercedes.
So we want to tackle the cost of these recent natural disasters and fires, especially we saw the devastation that happened with Hurricane Ida. Seth, I go to you first. We saw this hurricane devastate the Gulf Coast all the way through the Northeast. What is the financial impact on the federal government, but also what's the financial impact and what does this mean for state and local governments?
Yeah, I think, listen, at the end of the day, we can talk about impact to the governments, but reality, most of this impact is going to fall on taxpayers, not only because we fund the government, but because at the end of the day, the system is structured in a way that most taxpayers end up paying for their own losses through health or through insurance premiums, flood insurance premiums, things like that. But at the beginning, it's interesting. When Ida first hit landfall, they were saying this is going to be about a $16 billion storm. New estimates are now north of $100 billion, and that's everything from property damage to relief efforts, and that's in large part because that thing kept moving north. But what many people don't know that don't live in these areas is that regular homeowners insurance doesn't really cover a lot of this. You have to have special insurance policies that cover not just flood, because floods caused by natural disasters are a different insurance policy. And so at the end of the day, yes, the federal government is going to have to step in, likely to make whole or at least help support. A lot of the people are going to see losses from this that, quite frankly, insurance companies don't cover. And here's a fun little tidbit. Most insurance companies actually get reimbursed by the federal government for flood insurance. And so while they get to keep about a third of the profit for margin, they're just processing. They're the paper pushers.
So, Dan, I've pretty much calculated that Hurricane Ida is going to cost about I believe it's about $18 billion. Compare that to Hurricane Katrina, $170 billion 16 years ago. Why such the difference in terms of these severe financial impact in regards to these two hurricanes?
Well, I think every hurricane is a little bit different. I don't think that we were, quite frankly, prepared for Katrina. I'd like to think that 16 years later, we've learned some lessons, although I don't think we've learned enough, and perhaps a little bit better prepared, although I don't think Ida was as severe. But let's not downplay the damage that Hurricane Ida has caused. Now, I am in New Jersey, and this storm hit unexpectedly hard here, particularly in my town of Nutley, New Jersey. The flooding was just tremendous. We didn't have the wind damage, but a lot of the town really took it on the chin related to water. And there's a lot of people, as Seth was alluding to, that don't have flood insurance. And therefore, when you have flood damage, you are not covered. This is a tremendous hit that people take. So the lesson out there is that you don't have to be in a flood zone in order to buy coverage for flood insurance. I tell people all the time, whether you're in a flood zone or not, get flood insurance because it's not that expensive if you're not in a flood zone. So that's really the message for all the people out there for the next go round, because it will happen again.
Great point, Dan. That's why they call you America's accountant. But Seth, let me turn to you on this gas supply. We know that Ida hurt the gas supply for several days. Should there be a way to try and prevent this from happening in the future, or is there a way to prevent this from happening in the future?
Yeah, more pipelines. You know, the thing that the Biden administration wants to shut down. Listen, we as an economy need fuel. We need the capability to not only drill, but also refine and manufacture at its capacity. And here's the reality of it. In the wake of Ida, or at least I guess in the storm trajectory, was over 20% of our nation's refining capabilities. And those were knocked offline. Some of them still offline and may be offline for some time. That's going to impact already inflated fuel prices. And so what we need to do is expand our capabilities here, right? We can do this in an environmentally sound way. I mean, even our friends up north in Canada said that this pipeline that was shut down, the Keystone Pipeline, was climately appropriate. And so certainly we can do this. We need to do this. We need to expand our capabilities.
No, that's very helpful. Seth, I must say, if Dan's America's accountant, you must be America's financial advisor or market analyst. So how about that?
Amen. I'll take it. I'll take it.
I know we didn't. Thank you, Seth Denson and Dan Geltrude. I know we